This video is brought to you by Sailrite. Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions. Protect your companionway and the cockpit area from the heat of the sun, and you will instantly feel the drop in temperature. If you've got a throated mainsail cover, why not make a mainsail cover boom tent to provide your crew shade and protection from the elements. This boom tent attaches to the sail cover via twist lock fasteners and grommets with line attached to the stanchion lifelines, giving it wings.
It's 100 degrees cooler in here.
Since it uses the sail cover as part of the tent, this cuts down on the amount of fabric required to make the boom tent. In fact, depending on the overall size, it may only take 3 to 4 yards of a 60-inch wide fabric. Ours took less than 4 yards. To get started, we need to take some measurements. Measure from the sail cover's top spine down to where you want the boom tent to stop. To save on fabric, we will split a 60-inch section of Sunbrella marine-grade fabric in half, resulting in 30 inches of fabric on each side, minus the amount used for double hems, about 5 inches. If you want to go wider, use a 46-inch wide fabric and double the length required along the boom, since you will use it on both sides of the boom. After measuring, Brian's confident that a 30-inch piece on both sides will be sufficient for our Islander 37 sailboat. He's determined that he wants the boom tent to stop at this twist lock fastener, so he uses the soapstone pencil to mark that this is a stop point or the end point of our boom tent. Then he'll remove the sail cover from the flaked mainsail. The length of our boom tent could be measured while the sail cover is on the boom. He's taken it to a table here and uses a straight edge to measure the length from that stop position he marked with the soapstone pencil all the way to the end of the sail cover. We'll call this measurement the desired length. Plus, we need to add 5 inches for a double hem that will be created on both short sides. This is our cut length. We measured about 2 inches away from each fastener on both sides. Ours is about 119 inches in length. In order to cut our 60-inch wide Sunbrella piece, which is 4 yards for us, to the appropriate size, we're going to first slit it down the middle. Since we're going to have 30-inch sections on each side, minus the hem allowance, we'll just fold it down the center and use the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler to crease it well. Using the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler works to create a nice creased edge that will be very visible when we splay the panel apart. Then we'll be using the Sailrite edge hot knife to cut the fabric to the appropriate size. Using the Sailrite edge hot knife will seal the fabric edges to keep them from unraveling. Though it is true, a double hem will be created on all sides. So if you just use scissors, you will be fine doing that as well, because the cut edge will be folded and concealed inside of our double hem. The Sailrite edge hot knife comes with a cutting foot. We have that installed on the hot knife, so we don't have to worry about burning the surface of our tabletop underneath. The cut ends of our fabric may not be straight, so Brian used a straight edge there to ensure that they are straight and used the hot knife again to trim off the excess. Our desired length for us is 119 inches. We need to add 5 inches to that. So our desired cut length is 124 inches. A line is struck at that location with the soapstone pencil, and then the hot knife trims it to size. We're cutting both port and starboard panels on top of each other there. Now that our fabric's cut to size, it's time to create the double hems. Using the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler, we'll create a line here along the long edge of the fabric that is 2 1/4 inches away from the edge. Then we'll apply the seam stick 3/8 inch basting tape for canvas along the outer edge. This seam stick, or double-sided tape, is then pressed in place with the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler. We'll peel off the transfer paper, revealing the glue, and then we'll baste that first hem in place, matching it up to the edge we struck down with the soapstone pencil. We'll use the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler to create a very nice crease, and it also helps to adhere the basting tape to the acrylic fabric. To create the second portion of that double hem, basting tape is again applied to the folded edge on the inside. Then it too is folded down. It does not have a line to go by, but is folded along that raw edge that's in the middle. If you don't have the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler to crease the fabric, you can use another hard object that is smooth. To make a good workstation for the Sailrite Ultrafeed sewing machine, we're going to use the Sailrite Ultrafeed collapsible sewing table. This is a portable table that is easy to set up. Just pop the braces in place for the legs and turn the table right side up. It has a work tray that will collapse that allows the Ultrafeed to fit inside of it. Now we can take our Ultrafeed. This is the LSZ1 Plus package. It has an industrial carrying case, and we can drop the head inside of that cutout. This gives us a perfectly flat work surface that makes sewing much easier, and it can be transported anywhere. We'll sew a straight stitch along that outer edge about an 1/8 inch from the fold. We're using the Sailrite Deluxe Magnetic 5.5 inch guide here to help guide our fabric as we sew the stitch in place. That keeps the stitch nice and straight. We'll also sew a second row of straight stitches on the inner edge about an 1/8 inch from the inner fold. We're adjusting the magnetic guide here so that that stitch can be placed where Brian wants it, and at the beginning and the end do some reversing to lock the stitch in place. After that's done to the opposite long side, we want to repeat that procedure. However, here Brian is only going to use basting tape along the first hem. The second hem, he'll take it to the sewing machine and fold it in place as he sews. This is a little bit faster process, as you don't have to use the seam stick a second time. But it is your choice. You can use seam stick for both the first and second hem, or do it on the first hem only and fold it as Brian is here for that second hem. Once the two long edges are hemmed, we will now do a double hem on the short sides. Here we're using the Sailrite canvas patterning ruler and placing a mark 2 1/4 inches from the raw edge. Use the seam stick, fold it over to the line, and then we'll fold it a second time to create the double hem. A side note, as you can see, the corners will be very thick due to the double hem over a double hem. This is 9 layers of fabric. Installing a grommet or even a twist lock is very difficult in that many layers of fabric. So you have 2 choices at the corner. Use special fasteners for thicker applications, or cut out some of the bulk. So let's show you how to cut out the excess at that hem before you create it. We'll cut out the excess here of this second hem, being sure to leave about a 1/4 inch of fabric still along the fold. This way, our stitch that will sew the opposite double hem in place will catch that 1/4 inch lip. This cutaway square will be totally invisible from the inside or outside of our application because it will be folded under. Here we cut out 3 layers, making the overall for both these double hems only 6 layers instead of 9 layers. And almost all normal fasteners can go through up to at least 6 layers of fabric. So now we can install grommets and twist locks with buttons without worry. Now we can sew this short edge in the same manner that we sewed the long edges. And when we're done sewing, if you take a look from a side profile, you can see we have plenty of space to install our fasteners without the extra bulk. After cutting out all of the bulk at the corners and finishing the 2 hems on both short sides of our panels, we're ready to proceed to the fasteners. We'll start with the grommets. Along one of the long sides in both panels, Spur grommets should be installed. Here we used a number 2 hole cutter, and we'll install number 1 Spur grommets. Number 2 Spur grommets can be used as well. We place the grommet on the die set. This is a number 1 Spur grommet die set, and hit it with a mallet. You'll notice on the underside we're using a cutting block to prevent damage to the hole cutter. Grommets are typically spaced no more than 30 inches apart. Here Brian is folding the fabric to determine where the next grommet would go. So for our 119-inch side, 5 grommets are evenly spaced around 28 inches or 29 inches apart. Twist lock fasteners, cloth to cloth, will be installed next. Lay the mainsail cover on the ground and lay each side of the boom tent next to it. Using a soapstone pencil, mark where each of the fasteners in the mainsail cover rest along the edge that does not have the grommets installed. The soapstone marker marks will easily come off with a rag dipped in water. At each one of those locations, a twist lock stud is used and the 2-hole base is marked with a soapstone pencil. Now we need to make 1/8 inch holes. Here we're using the 1/8 inch stay-put spin cut tool to do so in a drill. We'll be installing the twist lock stud with the Snap-Right twist lock die kit. The Snap-Right buttons are inserted in the hole through the side that has the hem. The twist lock stud is installed over the barrel on the opposite side, through the holes. The twist lock die with mandrel is inserted through the barrel of the button and out through the opposite side of the button. Now a riveting tool with button die screwed in place is pushed over the mandrel and the lever depressed until the barrel is rolled over nicely on the other side. Repeat that process for the other side of the twist lock. There are other ways to install a twist lock stud. If you'd like to see those other ways, refer to the link at the top right corner to see a video showing them.
Nice, okay.
We'll repeat that process for every one of the locations where a twist lock stud needs to be installed. Now on the other panel we need to install the eyelets. The twist lock eyelet can be installed with the common sense eyelet hole cutter, which is very easy. However, we're going to install it with a simple hole cutter and a screwdriver. Here the 4 prong ends are coated with a soapstone pencil to mark the location of the 4 slits we have to make in our fabric. Then the legs are pushed on the canvas at the location where it needs to be installed. And that leaves you enough marks that you can tell where the slits need to go. Here we'll highlight them with the soapstone pencil. Now we'll use a screwdriver. The tip of this screwdriver is about the same width as the prongs, and we're using a hammer and punching it through the fabric to make slits for the 4 prongs of the common sense or twist lock eyelet. A sacrificial surface is on the underside. Here it's the rubber cutting block. Now the 4 prongs of the eyelet can be pushed through the assembly. Please note that the eyelet that we're installing here is actually being installed on the wrong side. We would rather have the eyelet installed on the side that includes the hem. If the eyelet is installed on this side, the hem will be facing the sky, something we don't want to happen. The center hole is marked with the soapstone pencil. Now we'll take that number 2 hole cutter that we used previously to install the number 1 grommets. We'll punch 2 holes, making what appears to be an oval opening for the middle of the eyelet. This way that oval hole will match the eyelet, and the twist lock stud will go through it nicely. On the back side, install the washer and then bend the prongs over with a blunt object. As discussed previously, we'd rather have the eyelet flipped. We'll do this along the entire length at every one of the marked locations where a fastener belongs, and we will be done with this side of the boom tent. Now to simply attach the panels, we need to just release the sail cover at each one of the fastener locations and attach our boom tent. On the side that has the grommets, we used an 1/8 inch Dacron leech line and secured it to the lifelines. The majority of sail covers made in the world are made from Sunbrella marine grade fabric. It's available from Sailrite. Because of that fact, we recommend using Sunbrella fabric again for the boom tent, if it's fashioned like this.
Oh man, it's 100 degrees cooler in here. We're taking a nap right now.
A boom tent like this will provide major differences in temperature and also protect you from the sun. Not only that, but also a surprise rain shower won't be as big a deal with a boom tent cover like this. Up next is a materials list and the tools that we use to make this mainsail cover boom tent. You'll find the Sunbrella marine grade fabric from Sailrite. We used a jockey red 60-inch width. As you can see, there are not many materials that are required to make this boom tent that attaches to the mainsail cover. If you have questions about any of the materials or the tools that we used, be sure to give us a call at Sailrite or email us. We're glad to help. For more free videos like this, be sure to check out the Sailrite website or subscribe to the Sailrite YouTube channel. I'm Eric Grant, and from all of us here at Sailrite, thanks for watching.